Islam. What is it? I mean, one of its original intentions were to perfect the morals of mankind. However, today it can feel and seem so far from that goal. So many sources exist, and so do opinions, misleading information, and even misleading actions. So what's the truth about this religion, which is openly and hiddenly in the firing line of human social and political influences? What are the kernel of truths that we can actually say about this religion? It can be frustrating to find the truth. But I believe a religion that doesn't allow questioning is one that's built on unstable foundations. I believe society has become infatuated with facts and opinions and forgotten the thinking and reflection that brought about those facts in the first place. After all, it's the thinking that guides the intellect which is more important. The quote you saw at the beginning of this video, what did it mean? Well, it means that if you had 7 seas and they all became ink, and all the trees in the world were pens, you'd still not be able to exhaust the word of God. Yet, the Quran, which has been claimed to be a guide for its people, is basically a book. But that's just it. Its verses have context and deep and profound meanings, and it's my opinion that there have only been a select few in history that can decipher its meaning for it to be sufficiently appreciated. I take the example of Hasan al Askari, a great lecturer and scholar from the 8th century. He put it this way: if you were in a jungle with wild beasts, whether you came out of that jungle alive or dead, you would still be considered a fool, unless you took a guide or a person with experience with you. The association was that the jungle was the Quran, and the guide were the select few that actually have knowledge of the Quran. Wait, how do we decide who's a legitimate guide for the Quran? Well, that comes down to your thinking, or more specifically, your thinking behind your intellect. You, instead of accepting facts, must learn to observe them yourself. We must all come towards reflection and reasoning. I believe Hasan al Askari from the 8th century demonstrates it perfectly in his lecture notes and in his book attributed to him, known as Hasan al Askari's Quran Exegesis. So join me in my video series where I intend to teach you the exegesis of the first and second chapter of the Quran. For you that are Muslims, it will expand your knowledge and understanding of the Quran, and for those who are of different faiths, you will at least know more of the truth about the Quran than the media currently represents. What you say will be actually backed by a source, in the sense you can relate it back to the book attributed to Hasan al Askari. This book is from the great grandson of Muhammad, peace be upon him, himself.